I say we just jump into it. That's all a bunch of podcast bullshit. We should just like make our podcast cooler than that. All right, jump in. Go for it. Let's do this, and then I'll do the introduction after your tattooing. Go.
Okay.
Right on the wrist there. Yeah, just jump right in. Whoa. You gotta give me some. Well, give me some warning. No, I'm not ready. Like, are we gonna do an introduction or anything? You're just gonna jump right into my wrist?
You started on my elbow, bro. Why are we all of a sudden making it like a big deal?
So it's still the XX podcast. It's not gonna be the. Okay, the new name will be announced soon. And we have Milen the Mad Tailor on the podcast today. And Milen is the fucking man. He is the most amazing tailor ever. Can you grab me his jacket? And, yes, that one. This is python skin.
Yep.
And it's a suit jacket. This thing is amazing. And so this is what Milen does. He makes amazing clothes for celebrities and crushes it. You've been a tailor for how long?
Over 20 years.
20? I think...
I mean, I've done it for like close to 30, but like being aware of what I'm doing for like about 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had like 9 years that was just kind of not actually like
mistakes
professional or what?
And just trying to figure it out. And it wasn't so professional. It was just me in my house experimenting, trying to figure out how it works.
Okay.
But after that, it became more like a professional, and I started working with other people, other artists, and it's just one thing led to another.
That's badass.
Yeah.
And so you immigrated from Bulgaria, right?
Yes.
And so in Bulgaria, when you were little, well, how old were you when you started making, because you made jackets for people?
So I was like, I don't know, 17, 18, trying to look cool. And start making stuff for myself and walk the streets, and people are like, oh, what is this thing that you're wearing? It's kind of unusual, but it's kind of cool. Or was it? I don't know. It was like shorts with elastic. Just
are you like really
easy peasy
driving that in there?
No.
Special for me?
No, not at all.
Are you mad at me?
No, I love you.
Okay.
But yeah. Make things for people. So yeah, I had this friend of mine. I was just like, hey, Milen, where'd you get this jacket from? I was like, well, I kind of made it home. He's like, no way. So I was like, yeah. So he's like, can you make me one? I was like, sure thing, bro. So he brought me some pictures. He kind of knew what he wants. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of directional, you know? So we figured it out. We made it pretty good with some fake embroideries, some brands and stuff like that. Came out just fine. That guy sell the shit out of that jacket. Like from the next day, he started wearing it left and right to the club, to the street, and everybody that had a little bit of money and wanted something new
That's awesome.
was on my door, like in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, for like.
So this one dude's jacket ended up being the thing that
like catalyst.
Everybody else
He was
wanting
the
them.
salesperson in the wares of like, oh, I know the guy, yeah. I know the guy, yeah. So his circle was like a little bit more extensive. So,
can you get the shot of like what she's actually getting right there?
yeah.
She's like right down on the bottom of the wrist, so it's.
And he's having the best time ever.
I'm having the best time ever.
Oh yeah. So do you have any pictures of this first jacket? Because I'm like. So
I think I have like something of it. Like I have like a whole album of like actual pictures developed, you know, the old school 35 millimeters.
Really?
I used to photograph him and just keep a catalog. So I kept quite a few of them. In my shop I have, and one day I'll show them to you.
Yeah.
But they're just a bunch of Nike or like Adidas and like some O'Neill, some skateboard brands, bunch of snowboard stuff.
Okay.
People just find pictures of magazines or VHS tapes or like MTV clips and stuff like that, and we'll just watch it, try to mimic it as good as we can, and everybody was happy. And more you do, better you get. I think if you have like the affinity to be that artist, you know.
Yeah.
So at one point, to me, it became like a second nature to make jackets. So I was kind of making money in a way. So then my sister, who is also a fashion designer, she was already in the States, and she completed her master's in fashion design. So she was like, well, you're kind of like a wild card. Like if you come to the States and you get educated and, you know, like kind of put your energy into something more like bigger than you probably will be way off. So I was like, I didn't need any more like convincing. I was just, I'm 25, might as well just, right?
Yeah.
So a few months later, I practically got on a plane, got to the States, got in a master's program of the Academy of Arts in San Francisco. Menswear, fashion design. So I was like, oh, that's a whole nother level of like ball game, like making patterns, making fittings, making designs, then chasing it, perfecting it, making it crazy, making it out of everything. So it was like, you know, a lot more than just like me cutting some polyester fabrics into the snowboard jackets.
I still think the snowboard jackets are like badass though, man, because like the people were literally finding stuff like in a magazine. But then were you taking like body measurements too? So you were actually making the jackets so they fit them?
Yes, of
And
course.
so they're
I'll just,
tailored.
everybody
Yeah.
comes and I'll measure their hands, their backs, and this and that. And it's a simple geometry in a way. And I was, my dad passed away like when I was pretty young, but we had his entire closet still full.
Okay.
So when I kind of became to this age curious of how things are constructed, I started ripping his shit apart. Like, you know, pair of pants, shirt, jackets, whatever.
And you just take them apart?
And I just take them apart and look at the shapes and I was like, that makes sense.
How old were you when you were doing this?
I was like 17, 18, you know, I just kind of probably freshly graduated high school.
Okay.
Had like a little bit of moment there before I went to the Naval Academy.
Well, that's crazy too. Like, how did you decide to go be a tailor instead of going through with...
I mean, I was doing it. I wasn't thinking it's going to be my profession or like I'm going to do it forever. I was just, it was a cool, easy way to crank some doors and have a bunch of friends in your house.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that it's going to get me like so excited and so involved. So I actually, you know, graduated the Navy Academy. I was thinking I'm going to be a captain and all that. And, but I practically, inside of me, I knew that I'm not going to do that, and I'd just go to the fashion field a little more stronger.
Really?
Yeah, so I kind of scratched that degree altogether.
Okay.
And just had like a year or two of a pause, and like then I came to the States and got my master's in menswear fashion.
Nice.
When you like, you know, you study how things work, how things are produced, and, you know, you skim to the skeleton of the fashion industry. But after graduation, I had like the opportunity to work with a whole bunch of different people in different cities, and projects led to one thing to another, and you just get better as you go if you are one of those people, I think, you know. I've seen people that just don't try, or they just do one thing and they're just happy with it. Like a lot of tailors are just happy making jackets for the rest of their life, like a blazer with a lapel collar, the same and the same and the same and the same. I was like, I mean, there's a pleasure in doing it, like every single day, the same exact jacket almost, you know. To me, that was like I like to evolve and like change styles and like fabrications and menswear, women's wear. Like it's dressing the people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I can't stand people that like, I don't know. That's just not me. And so like I don't get it. Like I always want to be chasing something else. And so like if I do something and it's good, then I'm never okay just doing whatever that was. Like I always want to do the next level and like move on to the next thing.
Yes, you want to just add to your personal portfolio, I believe we want to call it a skill set.
Yeah.
know? And I think like any craft is probably can be looked as, like martial arts or like driving fast cars.
Yeah.
There's a certain sets of skills that not very many people possess, and they're not just born with them. They just worked hard and consistently to achieve them and to get better at it. And by getting that much time and years involved into that process, you can almost like write your own code and like your own techniques and own like I don't know, the handwriting. That's your recognition and difference among other artists that do exactly the same thing.
You develop your own style.
Yes, I'm a tailor and a pattern maker in a core. That's like, hey, what do you do for a living? I'm a tailor and a pattern maker. I develop styles and produce things for companies and individuals. And right now, since we moved to Montana, it's primarily much more smaller scale. But I've been doing this development for like every season, new styles, crazy, just pushing the envelope. Everybody's trying to be innovative, and you're a tool that they pick up from the available tools right there.
Yeah.
So the sharper you are, more often you're getting picked, used, and so on and so on. You get like a nice little confidence that you can do it.
That's a really cool way of looking at it.
Yeah, if you stay on a bench, you're not getting any game, and you're not getting any better.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's like sad to like watch the best players having all the time on the field, but they're the best players, and they're getting better by playing better.
Yeah,
and it's hard sometimes to see like some people on the bench and say, "But how do we get out of this?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, don't sit there in the first place. I mean,
right?
It's the chase in the next level, man. Like, I feel like that's what makes you better is like if you're doing something and you're working and like you're here, but you're trying to get here and you're continually taking those steps to where you're seeking out new, like if
you have to take the steps to where you retain that knowledge, because I've seen a lot of people seeking it all the time, but they don't retain it. They don't understand what they're seeking, or even if you like chew it like in spirit in their mouth, they still don't get it.
Yeah.
So, and they're persistent. You can see them that they're going to stay in this industry forever, and they're never going to get it. But
yeah.
A lot of industries are full of people that are like in there in the scheme of things that's just totally fine. But like when it gets detailed, that's when you see a lot of lack of like confidence and people start falling apart. Tailoring is not a fast art. It's like, it takes like a couple of days, couple of weeks to develop something that is like, one garment.
Yeah.
And you have to get in a certain space of your head if it's like something new that you have never done.
Uh-huh.
If it's a jacket that I already done, I can close my eyes and make it,
Yeah.
And it's just like knowing the steps of a dance. But if you have to create a new dance, and if it's a new song that you never even heard before, fuck. So that's what usually I've been dealing with,
you're constantly going from one thing to something else that's new to something else that's new to something else
I
that's
think
new.
like my expertise lets me always like meet with people that need to push the envelope,
Yeah.
And I facilitate that kind of push, and I like doing it. It's like when you know something, when you understand it, and you get in a bunch of group of people that just like go in the same direction, it's great, The rest of the time, you're just in the gym, keeping in shape.
Yeah. Doing the day-to-day things that end up keeping you sharp. Yeah. So, but you've got to do stuff for like big name celebrities too, right? Like, so in the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you did Megan Fox's yellow jacket that she wore. Right?
Yeah, I did quite a few production pieces. When I moved to New York, one thing led to another, and I started working with a whole bunch of costume designers. And believe it or not, through the years, those designers also started growing in their field.
Okay.
So they were getting better and better jobs.
Gotcha.
Cooler projects. So who they call? The friend that always delivers.
Delivered the good patterns.
I make a sample.
Yeah.
And all that. And I got to work with Netflix productions, with Saturday Night Live, with a lot of Hollywood movies, making pieces, whole sets of things.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and it's just
so cool.
Everybody has a vision, and the more I know about it, I can kind of get it down, cut, sewn, and put into a body that meant to work,
Do you have anybody that's super famous that by contract you're not allowed to talk about them?
Yep.
Yeah. And so was Megan Fox. Are we not supposed to say that?
Oh no.
That one is okay to say.
Oh yeah. Let's say the politicians.
The politicians, when you do stuff for them, you're not allowed to talk about it. So you may have made stuff for politicians.
May or may not.
May or may not have made stuff for politicians too. No, the stuff that you make is crazy though, man. It's really cool because I've tattooed a bunch and then tried to get really, really good at tattooing. And then I really respect people that I can tell have put in so much time to master their craft. And I feel like you're right. There's the kind of people that they go after something and they just kind of half-ass it. And they're always okay with where they're at.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they'll do something and it's mediocre. And then they're like, oh, I'm here. And
Try not to move as much.
Don't move?
Thank you. Yeah.
I
Don't
can't
move this
with my
arm.
hands?
You can talk with that arm.
Okay, I feel like I'm doing pretty good.
Oh no.
Still.
No.
We'll watch the video.
Okay, yeah, I think it's okay.
Hey man, it's your arm. That's fine.
But yeah, there's certain people that end up, they do something and they're okay with it. They produce something that's at this level. And then they're like, I'm really happy with that. And they go home and they're like, oh, I'm okay. And then there's other people that are doing stuff that's so much better. And I think the people that end up getting the best are the kind of people that do something and it's here, but then they realize I'm so far from the people that are the best in the world at this thing. And they realize they've got so far to go and they're going to have to work so hard to get there. And so they try and figure out what's the next step? What's the next thing that I need to learn? What's the next thing that I need to do? And I feel like you've done that over and over and over. I don't think you can make stuff like this without doing that.
I think, everybody, some people like to get schooled. There's certain techniques, there's certain places that you can get educated.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, you kind of educated to go and work by yourself, as of you have to perform without me holding your hand, and all that.
Yeah.
So, and I think just like everybody is different in picking up things for themselves, you have to have this sense of what's good.
Okay.
My sense of what's good is different than your sense of what's good. Even though it's not that different, but believe me, mine and yours is hell different than that other guy that has 3 teeth in the mouth and hasn't changed his clothes. And, so when you make something and when you see it and you feel oh yeah, I did fucking yes, good. And you show everybody a piece of shit that is really, dude, really, versus something when you're if I don't like something, when I see it, when I do it, I don't show it to anybody,
Yeah.
I just fucking hide it or throw it away. But, it's a visual experience that we get. Even though I make objects that are wearable and whatnot, we're in a visual game here. We try to satisfy, A, the one that wears it.
Yeah.
B, the audience, because A is going to be happy if B is happy, And and if you as a maker can do that into a garment, you get happy too.
Yeah.
So we have to make it look good, feel good, wears well, and I don't know, dressing up is something that has been since the day the human exists. We always have people that like to spend time and look better, sleep in a better house, drive a better car,
Yeah.
have a different lifestyle. And I happen to be in a sewing business, which is like everything you look around is stitched, which is crazy,
Yeah.
It's like tents, parachutes, fucking boat covers, seat covers, jackets, shorts, everything is stitched. So I'm nuts about stitching, like when I see like different stitch, I want to know which machine does it, how it does it, why does it do it this way, So I start researching. That's why I have like over 20 machines in my shop, just because I have to have it now.
Yeah.
Once you find out that it's like, whoa, and you just get it. It's another tool that I can stitch this way now, so my garments look certain way, and people are like, oh, man, that's kind of cool.
But that curiosity is what makes you badass. Like the fact that you'll look at a stitch and you're like, oh, that's intriguing, and you want to know what machine ended up making it, and then you seek that out is like probably what led you to like making shoes also, right?
Yeah, that was
and, like,
curiosity too. Yeah, I was like,
can you grab one of the shoes they test? Or yeah, can you hand?
So that's kind
one of the boots.
Elaborate.
That is so awesome. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, so that's more like a traditional cowboy outtake, but I like ankle boots.
That's so crazy.
I like ankle boots with zippers. So that's what got me really into making boots in the first place.
Alligator.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so awesome.
I couldn't find those boots that I was wearing to shreds.
That's amazing.
I couldn't find them again. I bought 4 pairs of the exact same boot.
Well, what are you doing there?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the wrong one. I need to grab a different mag.
Different mag?
Yeah.
No, these are amazing, man.
Yeah.
But I really think like going into your shop and looking around and like seeing all the machines that you have, like how many tailors now do you think have the kind of machines that you have that are like 100 years old or 50 years old?
I mean, that combination that I have of machines, probably nobody has this kind of combo,
Yeah.
But there's like very few tailors that are actually boot makers at the same time. But that was just, just extension of my art and craft, because leather just became me, and then I was like, I can probably totally make a boot, So I kind of start researching, start reading books, start getting to know, start getting materials, and one day I just say, fuck it, let's do it, So
the leather. So like it was
the boots.
Okay.
Yeah. So the leather just grew on me as of like.
The more you worked with it?
The more I work with it and the more leather pieces I was making, once they go out, people see them and I was like, oh, who the fuck does that? So they go back to me and I was like, that's the leather guy. So people are like, the leather guy. And I was like, at one point, like maybe 70% of my work was like leather anyhow.
All leather.
So it's a medium that I like the leather arts like way differently than co-op wood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It has a character, it has a history, it has durability, it has appearance, has the screaming of luxury and function. I don't know. It's a good material and can get good effects with it. So
totally.
I've been fortunate to just have the time and the skills to experiment with different aspects of leather work, from traditional Western carving to cowboy boot making, like leather jacket making, like all those things. But, when I was in New York, I would just spend a lot of time in the factories, just observing the process, making sure everything goes smooth.
And so did they do leather stuff when you were there? Or was the stuff that you did in New York, was it more, fabric?
I mean, I was kind of 50-50,
Wow.
Wow, this.
keep going. I'm just hanging out.
All right.
Don't mind me.
In New York was high fashion most of the time. I was working with a lot of not a lot, but like as many people as fashion designers and fashion houses.
Yeah.
And would develop their runway pieces in seasons. So pretty much like 4 seasons.
Oh,
a
really?
year. You constantly cranking new designs for the runway.
Yeah.
And I would make like a section of the collection, like outerwear, like more structured pieces.
Okay.
And like, things that are kind of my wheelhouse, yes. So, and more you work with some designers and other people, they kind of know your strengths or like your style, so they can kind of apply it into the whole design process in a way,
Yeah.
But, that's like behind the scenes in a way.
Totally. And so you ended up being the guy that they wanted to go to if they were going to do something that was leather. But then you were also doing all kinds of other patterns.
Yeah, that's part of it. But if I have a choice, I would just work with leather.
Okay.
But as people request different silhouettes, different materials.
Yeah.
And most of the designers already have their fabrics picked for the season, so you have to work with the materials that they provide. And that's totally fine, and just make it work.
Yeah.
So, what's your least favorite material that you've worked with so far?
I mean, at least favorite would be chiffon. It's very light. It's very chiffon. It's like a see-through kind of like silky material. Silk is also kind of very hard to work with. I mean, it's very slickery. It's very my hands are not very delicate, and sometimes it just catches some fabric and just makes snags. But sometimes, when I have to work with fabrics like that, I just have to soften my hands quite a bit before I start doing that. Yeah, it's quite unruly,
Huh.
Imagine trying to tattoo a saggy skin. If I have
baby,
to
you have
explain.
really nice skin, by the way.
My skin is not chiffon.
No,
it's
your
leather.
skin is nice and young and strong, sturdy.
Tight, like a tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Right on.
So, yeah.
It feels pretty tight right down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's supposed to. Pain is good for you. Aren't we glad we have so much more to do?
I'm so glad we have so much more to do.
Me too.
I'm bummed that it's not going to be on the podcast, though.
I know. So we were going to start tattooing each other on the podcast and have that be a thing. We could still have it be a thing. It just wouldn't be.
The new podcast, we're going to have, the model that's going to come in, and then they're going to be on it.
Yeah, good to know that's the one that you don't tattoo the guest. Yeah, thanks.
You were kind of bummed, though. When you came in and found out that you're not getting tattooed, you're like, oh, man. Thought I was going to get something cool.
I'll tattoo you.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on as the model. You'll be back on the show again, and then you'll actually be the model.
Let me buff up a little bit.
There you go. You got probably 2 months, 3 months. You're gonna have to be back on. You're gonna have to go on keto.
Yeah, think about what you want for that tattoo.
So you did high fashion stuff in New York, and then you ended up working your way into being able to do Hollywood stuff in New York because of the people that you knew.
Yeah, that's what
getting
happened
you different
there.
jobs.
It's New York, as you know, is a big mix of just about everybody. So it's just a lot of fashion design, but there's also a lot of costume development and design development. So I end up doing quite a few projects. So let's say I work for Zoolander 2.
Zoolander. So you
so
did clothes for Zoolander too?
I did a Python leather jacket for Ben Stewart. So
That's cool.
when he was driving that convertible, he wear that spiffy little blue snake jacket.
A blue snakeskin jacket?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so that was me. So when I was
So
working,
did you get to meet Ben Stiller?
No, I just work by measurements, and I make a prototype. The prototype gets flown to him. He fits it.
Okay.
And then I get notes and pictures, and then I make my alterations and make him a stage one, the one that actually fits
that
him.
he actually wears on stage.
So you make it 2 times because it's a costume, so you have to have sometimes stunt double, whereas they have just double to do it.
Oh, okay.
So that was pretty cool, And it was like a super short notice too. It was like very nerve wracking, and it's like the shoot was in Italy, and like I was in New York, so we had to FedEx it overnight. It was crazy, but it worked out apparently. So
That's awesome.
So you're the guy that they would call like if they needed something super badass and they needed it super fast.
I mean, whoever knows me or like sometime, super fast. Usually you call me and
Okay.
it can make it happen. I mean, if it's reasonable, and it was like different before we had kids. So we would put a lot of hours working and just being part of the whole movement, stay late hours, work different projects. But man, once we start having kids, we start prioritizing things.
Yeah.
But speaking of cool projects, I had to do the Game of Thrones belt for Jason Momoa.
Whoa, that's cool.
But I did it for
I
the
didn't know about
SNL. SNL did like a lot of sketches with him being funny, But they needed the belt, so I made a replica of the original belt, which turned out like pretty badass. If you watch the show, like he's like in full costume, and you cannot even tell that the belt is not the original one. I made him some fringe leather jacket that he was wearing for this Christmas moment sketch that he did. And during SNL, I've done like quite a few like famous names, like little costumes, little jackets, something that they put him in a character. They come and it's like, hey, that's the sketch.
Okay.
So we make the costumes and working costume is different than working fashion, because fashion you have like 3-4 weeks to develop something costumes, especially for like SNL. You get the sketches Thursday night. You have Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday till 10 in the morning, because they start shooting and rehearsals at 12 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
Saturday, because Saturday
So when
night,
SNL sends you something, you literally have like
you close yourself
24 hours
to
actually create exactly what they need and get it shipped off to them.
I was in New York, so I just get it.
Oh, so you just give it to them?
Yeah, just the interns or like whoever, they have like the courier service just stays right there. The moment it's finished, it just grabs it and yeah, man, it's like some people just work transportation of goods, garments that needs to be somewhere super fast because somebody important waits for them.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. But it's kind of fun, It's like we have some, like, I made some sexy costumes for Magic Mike too, out of leather, like ball caps and stuff like that.
Wait, so you made the little leather pants for Magic Mike too?
Not himself, but like if you remember the two bodybuilders that he had like as the sidekicks.
Okay.
So I made their costumes, like red shorts, cuffs, like super kind, like sexy and slippery kind. Like a big leather bulge cap, like snaps everywhere. Like
Hold on, it's called a bulge cap?
I mean, I don't know, some kind of a cap.
A bulge cap.
Bulge cap.
You made the bulge caps for leather Magic Mike.
Yeah, I made some of that.
You need a bulge cap.
I need a bulge cap?
Yeah.
Really?
Just for the
Am I
funsies of it.
printing?
No.
Just in general, just for comfort.
Yeah, just in general.
Just in general.
Just in general.
So yeah, we start having our kids one by one, and all of a sudden it's like New York was like not the place to raise kids. But like my wife is a fashion designer. We both kind of in the fashion field, and she stepped down from like a VP position from a very large company. We both decided to kind of scale down our operation in New York and kind of concentrate a little bit more on our own vision as artists and our kids. And that was the reason we moved to Montana in the first place. And luckily, we kind of moved right before the pandemic, so we avoided the whole craziness being in a...
So you weren't actually in New York when the pandemic happened?
No, we accidentally decided to move end of 19. That was kind of, we've been planning this for years, So next thing you know, like September comes 2019 and we move, and then a few months later, boom, like pandemic and stuff,
Wow.
It would have been disaster if we stay in New York, because everybody stopped working,
Yeah.
and I probably would have closed shop and all that. I would have probably like run out of business. But we survived here in Montana. Kids are happy, and we're trying to start our own business, or like just be part of the community here. And that's how I kind of met you guys, and we start being not just friends, but just people that start building things together.
That was super cool. So how we ended up finding out about you was
way around. Yeah.
I come to Whitefish, and I'm like, been itching for a new tattoo. So I started research, who in the area is like the good artist that I can dedicate me for a new tattoo, which I wanted to.
Oh, that's right. It was okay.
So I started asking around, and like, who does anytime I see somebody with ink, I'll be like, who did it, who does it, So Kelly names like got up on my list, right?
So you were looking for your tattoo artist, and then you ended up finding Kelly.
Finding Kelly because like she cleared up on all my checks there. I was like, all right, that's the girl. So and then I approached her, but then next thing you know, COVID fucking hit, so we kind of got disconnected.
Oh, okay.
And for like quite a bit. And like maybe like 6-7 months later, when things kind of hustled down, like even longer maybe.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah, then we did the alligator, and I started coming to your shop, and you were around. That's when I met you.
Okay.
You should show off your alligator. No big deal.
Oh, like right now.
Make it dance.
Are you down? You down to show off your alligator tattoo? Oh.
So let's see.
How many hours was your alligator?
How many sessions?
3.5 sessions.
Okay.
So 24, like 30?
Yeah. Almost 30 hours.
Kaboom, kaboom. I'm sucking my gut,
I love it.
I'm better from the front and the back sides.
I love it.
No, that's awesome.
So yeah, man. So yeah, that's how we met, and then I think we just started. We've been just keeping in touch. We haven't been doing any arts or stuff, but we're just kind of like admiring each other for a long time. And I guess when you guys needed some development,
then that's when it ended up popping in.
That's when we start like kind of being like, oh shit, we can do shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, we need to get a hold of Milen. This is the dude that we need to get a hold of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
How you doing, boss?
Doing awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Getting close.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so the stuff that you're doing here, now that you're in the valley, you get to do quite a bit. Like it's way more artsy, right? Like you actually get to do things that are more art than the stuff that you were doing in New York.
A lot more art, a lot more like not slow development, but it's like I use all the little things and skills that I have acquired, and I throw them into those elaborate projects that people still find me, and like I'm kind of lucky that once people hear about me or like know more about what the product is or like what could be done, it's all about conversation.
Yeah.
And they can build on it. So I got approached for like very interesting projects, including making a wardrobe for a Sting's tour.
So you did the whole wardrobe for the singer Sting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so he's been touring for like the last year and a half maybe.
And all the stuff that he's wearing is the stuff that you made?
Like a good 80%.
That's awesome.
Of what he wears on stage is what we made, like I am the maker and that kind of like take charge of the design. But like, I work with his stylist. And I got direction and like color schemes and like sometimes like they send me the materials, so I come up with the patterns, the cuts, the samples, and approvals, and just the finals.
That's awesome.
And that's all kind of like done through the mail and through Zoom meetings and chat like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
again, you had more freedom and you were able to make it like more artistic than what you normally got to do in New York.
Yeah, it needs to be a lot more artistic, a lot more challenge. It needs to be like, rock star, but just to be like Englishman at the same time. It needs to fit his aesthetics, when you work for somebody. Like, it's for everybody. It needs to fit their aesthetics,
Yeah, definitely.
So, but but then I get like to work with still with the fashion world, but they ask for like the craziest, the bonkers fucking pieces. You make like those like leather sculptures that are like hard shells, and then you put rib cage and like spines in them, and they're like.
You're talking about the one that you made that's like it has a vertebrae that goes up through it, and you made the whole vertebrae, and then it's got ribs that come around it and go on the sides, and the girl had giant breasts and a big old booty.
Yeah.
And you had to like make a mannequin that fit that, and then you like actually built a vertebrae and stuff.
Yeah, so practically I start from by building a plexiglass body, like I use like a fiberglass and like sheets and like volleyballs.
Volleyballs for the breast or volleyballs for the butt?
For the breast. Each breast was the size of a volleyball, so like I had to place him to the body. Practically what a surgeon would do to like a normal body. You know, that's what happened. I took like a normal basic patient, like dress form, and started like adding shit to it, like from the visual reference that I was sent,
Yeah.
So it ended up like looking great, which
awesome.
was like nobody.
That thing blew my mind. Like all the little parts that went into it to make it.
I didn't even know what was happening to the very end. I was just at it, throwing, wood in the fire.
Yeah.
And it doesn't spark, doesn't burn, and at one point, just boom, damn. It was like.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is to see their reaction when they receive it. And it's like the very first time I have a video of her just like putting it. Damn! I was like, you define gravity for her because, this is a sculpture,
Yeah.
She puts those like 15-pounders in there.
Oh, at least.
You know what I mean? And she just doesn't have to carry him anymore on her shoulders. It just like, if that was me, I would have probably felt great.
Yeah.
But, just being able to make it, it was just achievement on my own. It's like almost like I solo climbed a wall without ropes, and I survived. It was like a very dangerous project, but, came out all right.
That one was amazing, man. That one was so
cool.
incredible. I love that piece.
So, yeah, sometimes making art by commission, it could be sketchy,
Yeah. Totally. Well, especially like not having, if it's something that's a long ways away and the person has to like send measurements and everything.
Oh, I mean,
like,
that was like way long ways away. This is like, was like way beyond anything, That's not, was like, making a jacket or making a skirt.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Just
fits the body.
You're making a body sculpture to like a very unique body,
Yeah.
And that fits only one person. That's it. You know? So, it was fun. I got vertigo straight after that.
You got what?
Vertigo.
Really?
For like a month, I couldn't like say my name after that project. I was like,
really?
Oh yeah.
Just because you were going so hard, or what?
I don't know, man. I just collapsed. Got so sick. But yeah, I was putting a lot of effort and sniffed a lot of glue because it's like, making it like, because it's a shell that looks very pretty on the outside, but guess what? In this like high couture like shit, it has to look immaculate on the inside too.
Right.
So here you go, me postering this whole thing like real nice, and just the glue that you use to put shit together, and it's like toxic as shit. It's like right there, so make sure everything is perfect.
Yeah.
So the little risks we take. Yeah.
So we get to go to India with you because we're having you design some t-shirts for us for our XX clothing brand. And you, like, I'm amazed, man. The shirts that you ended up making are so far beyond anything that I hoped for. And we've gotten to work with like a bunch of people doing stuff through XX. And it was so cool having you do the shirts for us because it was literally like, we gave you this rough concept of, we had shirts that we like the fit of, but then we loved some of the stuff that you had done in your own designs and asked you if you could work them in. And do you remember what you said when I was like, hey, can you do this? You're like,
shit.
you go, I can fucking do anything. And I was like,
I mean, yeah, probably t-shirts.
he's like, these are t-shirts. I can fucking do anything.
No,
But
I
they
like
turned out
the
so awesome.
I shit patterns. I'm like, yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah, we're like, can you make patterns for us? And you're like, yes. But it's amazing, man. The stuff that you ended up making is phenomenal. The shirts are like probably the coolest shirts I think I've ever seen, and you busted them out. And
I mean, yeah, I mean, t-shirts is like one of those basic things for like people like me,
yeah,
let's say. And I'm, like just everybody that is normal. I like t-shirts, I wear them all day long, every day. So between conversation and stuff like that, I had a pretty good idea where we shall be in the fit.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, sometimes when you design, it's like, you cut here, you cut there, you pinched here, and it's like, a couple of designs happen,
Yeah.
And that's how I design. I design through making it versus like, I don't sketch it first and then go and try to make my sketch. I kind of like start going for a garment and then I make the base and then I just start tweaking it till I like it.
Yeah.
And when I'm happy with it, that's the, you just pattern it, you finalize it, and, see how it goes. So that's what we do with those shirts. And I think it's like unique enough, but like pleasantly, like, it doesn't look basic, but it's like, it's the basic t-shirt in the end of the day.
Totally.
But it's like, as I told you, it's like a pretty woman, there's something about that lady that is like different than the other ladies that you can just like look at it and it's like, damn,
It really is. Like the cuts on it and the way everything, all the different lines go on the shirt, it looks like a nice t-shirt when you first look at it, but then you start looking at it closer and you're like, whoa, this is in a world of its own. And so we get to go to India with you, and then we're going to an awesome factory over there to go check stuff out. What do you think that's going to be like, man? What do you think going to India is going to be like?
I mean, I'm all kind of business oriented right now. In my head is like, oh man, let's go and see the factories. Let's go ask him this and these questions. I really hope they speak a sweet English, and we can conversate and get to pretty much see what kind of a tool they are,
Yeah.
And make the collaboration that we need here as on our end and what we can produce with them. It's just like seeing the factory, knowing the capacity, knowing the vendors, knowing the hardware that they use, knowing the finishes that they can do for us. All that is like part of building a good product. And I live with this shit. It's like I like making sure that the sequence is right, that the product is good, and sometimes like the way you make the pattern, it would dictate like the outcome of the sewing process.
Yeah.
So keeping all that in consideration at the same time, sometimes it's like in bigger brands, it kind of gets scattered just because there's like one's the pattern maker, there's the other one sews it right there, there's a third one designing it, and it's like there's no like a cohesive like flow or like understanding of every single element. And I'm one of those people. Like you have to design, you have to sew, you have to understand construction, you have to know pattern making. But this is like if you want to be in this craft, like in a full capacity,
Yeah.
So and that way people see it, and guess what? When you go to a place like this and people understand that you actually like are fully aware of what's up, they don't give you the shit, they don't give you the runarounds, they give you the best.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
I'm excited to go to the Taj Mahal. Did you hear we get to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the place that we're staying at is like 2 hours away from the Taj Mahal. And so one of the days that we're there, we get like a guide that's going to take us to the Taj Mahal, and we get to go check that out. So that's going to be awesome. That actually came up because Ween, my son's wife, she came over to play poker, and she's like, are you going to see the Taj Mahal? And I'm like, I don't know. India's huge. Like there's probably no way that it's close enough. And I looked, and like it's just outside of Delhi. And so, we get to, it's actually, we're staying in the southern part of Delhi. And so it's actually only 2 hours away from where we're at. So we get to go to the Taj Mahal.
Hopefully they have AC in that car.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Where are you just like packing in a bunch of black now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't mind me.
So the other thing that I definitely want to ask you is what I would say is definitely like a master, somebody that's been doing something for like close to 30 years. I feel like has gained enough of a proficiency where like you are like a master tailor. And so what advice would you give to people that are wanting to do what you're doing, or people that are like wanting to pursue their passion?
If it's passion of tailoring and like becoming like a proficient in this, spending time behind the sewing machine is the most important thing that you can do. It's like, and knowing how to control the machine. I mean, like knowing how to sew by hand is one thing, but if you want to make like crazier things and like more like this, you have to use like a sewing machines, and they can be like very great tool. They can really fuck you up, you know. Like a lot of people mess up like perfect pattern, like they cannot put it together, and that's not just like people that just start. They're like even manufacturers. That's why exactly it's important to check your manufacturer, because you give them a perfect pattern and they butcher the shit out of it. Yeah. It's like, what is this? You know.
Totally.
So I like sewing, and I want to believe that sewing is my better part, but like patterning is like, so
you're also really good at patterning.
I think those two are combined, because if you know how to pattern, you will know how to sew it, and the other way around. Like when I pattern it, I already kind of think how I'm going to be sewing it. So it's like, I don't know, just a lot of practice behind the machine, and it's like, not getting like tired and like disappointed, and again, be your own judge. You know, if you're not gonna wear it, don't hang it in a store. Don't show it to people as of like, look what I make. You know.
Yeah.
Like I used to teach pattern making and construction, university for like 6 years. But anyways, I tell my students, when we have a presentation, let me see your garment. Put it on the hanger right there. Would you buy it? Would you go and buy this piece of shit that you coming here? Or like, look at the other one, like, it's like nice, it hangs right, the lining is thing, everything works together. It's an ensemble, it's a beautiful thing. Spend countless hours behind the sewing machine. No, this is like your tool. This is like your airbrush. This is your pistol. This is your card. This is your frying pan, whatever your art is in craft. The sewing machine is like your one thing that you can make miracles with. You can put pieces of fabrics or leather together in a certain ways with that particular machine. There are quite a few different machines, but any sewing machine that you can master, there are people that master one sewing machine and that's enough for them.
Yeah.
And like it could be a different type of sewing machine. So master your machine and be your own critique. If you cannot tell what went wrong on your own and you don't have a mentor, you're kind of like stuck in a wrong pattern, you know what I mean? So you have to be able to troubleshoot on your own problems, because you have to have like mistakes in order to improve. Or like even if it's good this one time and you didn't see it, you learn something, the next time could be better. But if it's a piece of shit, and if you think it's a piece of shit, somebody else would think the same thing too.
Totally.
And if you cannot see it, that means that we're probably never gonna get as good as the person that can see it.
Yeah.
So I think being your own critique and being honest with your work is like the most important thing. Like know your skills. At the moment you understand that, you can improve on them,
Yeah. And I think that applies to anything. Like if you want to be good at something, then you have to be able to like look at what you did, and then you have to be able to ask yourself, like, is this something that I would want to wear? Like if it's a tattoo, If you're a tattoo artist and you're doing tattoos that are not on the level where it's something that you would want to have on you, then you better keep working hard enough to get good enough to where you can have something that is going to be something that you would actually want to wear yourself. And like using that filter instead of being like, oh, is it okay? Like, okay is never fucking good enough. Is it great? And is it something that you would want to wear should be the question.
I mean, that's one thing, but we get a reference from the people that we work for, you know. As I like to say, you are artist only if you have an audience. Yeah. Because if you have no audience, you're just a crazy person with a hobby or whatever the fuck it is, you know. Because the audience makes you an artist. Just say, hey, that guy's good. Like, he creates art, you know. I see it and my heart melts in a good way, you know. That's what art is. Like, it's not like a pair of sneakers that is just comfortable, you know. A pair of sneakers could be a piece of art, but, you know, it takes a craftsman to bring him to another level. You know, like, just like anything could be a piece of art if it's brought up that way to be a piece of art, and with understanding and with like the whole audience around it, you know. Yeah. So the best critique is like when somebody says, I like it, or like I love it. And thank you, you know. Because this is the one thing that I always, you know, dread what the customer's going to say when they receive a box. You know, like I just sent some shoes to New York for like a Broadway play. And I've been just like waiting to see what the fuck they're gonna say, you know, because I never worked with this particular lady. Yeah. And it's my first time showing her my work. And they're super busy and she's not like answering, you know, the questions. And I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe she's pissed, you know. Ends up she loves it, you know, the guy that put them on like loves it. They order another pair immediately.
That's
they
awesome.
Want, like, you know, somebody else gonna order some more pairs. So, you know, it's good, but by the time you get the okay, you're like, yeah.
No, I know that feeling, man. Like, I don't know how many times I've sent off tattoo drawings to somebody. And then it's hard to, like with tattoos, it's really hard because it's not finished. You send off a drawing and then there's still so much that like needs to be developed and put on the skin.
I learned that I don't know how to imagine the drawing to finish tattoo, but I, you know, like, so I know not to judge or like, you know.
When you get the line drawing,
you're not like, especially, you know, it's the same thing. You research a little bit, you find the artist, you find that the resume fits your criteria, you go there. I don't know if you're somebody that wants a nice piece of clothing or pair of boots or like garment or like something or like a line develop, and if you do your research, you may find me. You never know. You know, that's how it is. I'm a one person and my wife, you know, that's two of us. We can do as much as two people can do, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you guys are so awesome. I'm so stoked that we ended up running into you guys. Are you done?
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Nice.
Is it full circle now?
Yeah.
Yep, full
circle. It goes all the way around.
There you go.
He's been needing that band done like for over a year.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Because this outside part was done, but then the inside part wasn't complete. And so now we get to cover up this whole area too.
Over 2 years.
Yeah, it has been over 2 years.
That'll be exciting. Next time we gotta go in and
check out how poofy it is.
It's so poofy.
Can you get the side view of that, Litas? And show like how nice and poofy it is?
My bed wrist is that poofy without.
Can you see it? Your wrist is already that. You can see it poofed up? Nice.
You were a wonderful canvas.
That's what you do to me, baby. You make me swell up.
Oh, I know.
Dirty talk.
The dirty boy.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.